Tonight on CFTK-TV, a Remembrance Day ceremony was displayed at the Terrace Cenotaph. We're now at 7 days since the port strike started, and a longtime Canadian politician was honored at the Canada Life Centre.
Northwest BC's only television news team. We are CFTK-TV News.
Hello, I'm Damian Smith, and thank you for joining us here on CFTK-TV. Well, today was the day to honor those fallen for the freedom of our country, and today's Remembrance Day parade in Terrace had citizens lining the streets to pay tribute, and CFTK-TV's Jayleen Matthews was there.
On this chilly November morning, families and residents gathered to pay tribute to those who have served our country.
Fill this gathering with peace, gratitude, and a renewed commitment to the values they defended: freedom, justice, and dignity for all. May their legacy inspire us to be makers of peace in our homes, communities, and the world. Bless the families and the loved ones who have endured loss. Grant them comfort and the knowledge that their sacrifices are not forgotten. May we, in our remembrance, strive always to be worthy of their gift. Guide our thoughts and words today as we honor their lives, and may our actions reflect their commitment and courage.
By remembering their service and their sacrifice, we remember the tradition of freedom these men and women fought to preserve. They believe their actions in the present will make a significant difference for the future, but it is up to us to ensure that their dream is realized. On Remembrance Day, we acknowledge the courage and sacrifice those who serve their country and acknowledge our responsibility to work for the peace they fought to achieve.
The parade was followed to the cenotaph, where wreaths were laid. Veteran David Ross says he lost friends both in combat and military accidents during his service.
I think my message would be to remember those sacrifices that people have made for them. Don't ignore them. It's only one day in the year that we have this Remembrance Day parade, but they should be remembered almost every day of the year. Take time out, help us.
Newly elected MLA for Skeena, Claire Tay, stressed the value in freedom.
We are very, very blessed and fortunate to live in this country and to live in this province, to be able to live freely as we do. And I just hope that people always remember that, and specifically today, that they remember just how important that freedom is and how hard people have fought for it.
For CFTK TV News, I'm Jayleen Matthews.
Now, recently it was revealed that 7 different dental care programs in Prince Rupert have become some of the first providers to link up with the new Canadian dental care program. But while several Prince Rupert providers were the first to actually sign up in noticeable numbers, they were not alone. The program has managed to reel in 5 Terrace providers, 2 from Dog and Geeds, 6 from Smithers, as well as 1 from Houston. The services that are offered by the Canadian Dental Care Program include x-rays, root canals, cleanings, and screenings for any oral diseases if someone may contract. In only a 6-month span, the program was able to reach the milestone of seeing over 1 million users join up. And we're now reaching a week since the start of the port strike, and we're already seeing significant impacts in a crucial way for importing and exporting products in Canada. Kamal Karamali from CTV News has more on this multi-billion-dollar loss.
This glass tank here.
Here at this Vancouver area water filtration company, supply is drying up.
Specifically, this one glass tank is what we can't get.
Because some parts are stuck at the Port of Vancouver, where an ongoing labor dispute has paralyzed cargo movement since Monday.
We're selling them as fast as we can manufacture them, and so then when the supply chain stops and breaks, then we're out of stock.
Countless businesses feeling the ripple effect as the employer and union members broke off talks in BC this weekend. Combine that with ongoing work disruptions at the Port of Montreal, and businesses are bracing for the worst.
This is really something of a perfect storm.
The Port of Montreal Dock Workers Union overwhelmingly rejected a contract offer by employers Sunday night that will now leave some 1,200 staff locked out. With the country's two biggest ports left at a standstill, there's a lot to lose.
We're looking at a disruption to $1.2 billion worth of trade daily.
And the timing couldn't be worse, with Black Friday just around the corner, kickstarting the holiday shopping season.
The 6 weeks leading up to Christmas can sometimes represent 25 to 40% of their entire year of sales, and many of these businesses are already desperately weakened.
With small businesses paying the biggest price.
It's just a really bad situation for us.
Business groups have been ramping up pressure on the federal government to step in and pass back to work legislation, but the federal labor minister only saying the progress so far has been insufficient, not committing to intervention.
And with the massive amounts of rainfall leading to high water flows throughout northern BC, the District of Kitimat has put out a boil water notice due to the Kitimat River's water quality being compromised. All residents who know that they get their water from the Kitimat River have been urged by the district to boil their water for at least a minute before they consume it. And the heavy rain has also led to the closing down of public areas like Hirsch Creek Park, Radley Park, and Dyke Road right on Columbia Avenue to keep people safe from the elevated river levels. In fact, the water concerns even got so bad that a flood warning was issued for the entire North Coast. However, that has since been lifted. Coming up next, after the hottest year ever, the UN Climate Change Conference is set to start today. Welcome back. Well, over in Ontario, one woman has struck up a military career after not having a previous background in that field. However, the Canadian Armed Forces has been struggling in recent years to recruit. And here's Heather Butts from CTV in Toronto.
A new day, a new task for Private Charlotte Schnub. And new is a constant theme here. She worked on cars as a teenager, but only now in her 30s is making a career of it in the military.
The teamwork, the camaraderie, the stability that the military provides, it was kind of a no-brainer.
The mother of 5 left her role as a medical assistant in a doctor's office for a career with the Canadian Armed Forces.
I figured if I'm going to start somewhere and learn something brand new, I'm going to do it in a career that I have no idea about.
The training offered by the military is part of why she signed up. Private Schnub enlisted in 2022.
I believe in this country. I'm really excited to be able to provide support for the CAF in general.
A motto that at one time had more people lining up to enlist. Now the military struggles to significantly increase its numbers, faced with challenges in recruitment and retention. The regular force is nearly 64,000. That's more than 7,000 short of what's authorized. Add to that the shortfall in reservists, and the military is roughly 15,000 off its target.
It is probably the largest challenge facing us right now. No matter where you look across the world right now. And it's a dangerous time. And I believe the Canadian Armed Forces are up to the task, but we need to be filled with people in order to really execute on those tasks.
The Armed Forces has tried to modernize its recruitment process, evolving dress requirements and fostering more inclusiveness. At the same time, committing to overhauling the military culture and better the response to sexual misconduct allegations. Building back its force size is a priority.
This is for you.
New recruitment ideas like the Naval Experience Program, a year of training with no strings attached, is showing success. The Navy recently toured communities throughout the Great Lakes to help people envision this career and lifestyle.
We need to do a much better job of attracting and recruiting them, so signing them up to the military. We need to do better at training them.
Private Schnub already had the benefit of understanding a military lifestyle. Her husband has been a member for roughly 15 years.
What do you feel when you put on the uniform?
I'm super proud to wear this uniform. Yeah, super proud. I didn't realize the impact it was going to have on me.
That pride helping to fill a crucial role as the military tries to build for the future. Heather Butts, CTV News, Toronto.
And over in Azerbaijan, the United Nations Climate Change Conference will be taking place today, with a number of questions arising, especially here in North America. And Colton Prail of CTV News has more.
2024 is set to be the hottest year on record. Scientists predict warming will likely be 1.5 degrees above pre-industrial levels for the first time ever. It's the backdrop for this year's UN Climate Change Conference in Azerbaijan.
The negotiators really need to put the world on a path to reducing emissions in these huge temperatures and forget 1.5 Celsius.
Monday, countries look to renegotiate a funding agreement to help the global south in the fight against and to recover from climate change.
Trust has been eroded because the money that was promised has not been put on the table at the scale and speed promised.
But it's politics looming over the meetings. Donald Trump has promised to pull out of the Paris Agreement for a second time, which aims to slow climate change and to lift regulations on the oil and gas industry. It has one former finance minister asking if Canada needs to reconsider its climate actions.
We have to ask ourselves, is it really the right time for caps on emissions? Is it that we need to be moving really fast on carbon capture and sequestration at the same time?
Last week, the Liberals announced oil and gas producers will need to cut emissions by about 1/3 over the next 8 years. The Environment Minister standing by that choice.
There is a global race towards clean technologies. It will be the economy of the 21st century. It will be the jobs of the 21st century. And we want to be part of that.
Pierre Poilievre has vowed to rip up the emissions cuts if elected, but has previously said he is not proposing Canada leave the Paris Agreement.
And now turning to tonight's weather forecast, the Prince Rupert area should have consistent rain, with winds coming from the southeast at 20 kilometers per hour, which will change to the southwest sometime at midnight. There will be a low of 6 degrees. The Terrace and Kitimat region should have periods of rain with winds from the south at 20 kilometers per hour, becoming lighter after midnight, and the temperature should be 3 degrees. And finally, the Bulkley Valley and Lakes District should see cloudy conditions with a 60% chance of flurries this evening and light winds up to 15 kilometers per hour. And the low will be -7 with a wind chill of -9. Now on to your weekly weather forecast. The coast should see steady temperatures with a little bit of sun on Thursday, followed by 6-degree weather heading into the weekend. The low will be 2 degrees on Saturday night and the high will be 9 degrees tomorrow. The Terrace and Kitimat region should have temperatures bordering 0 degrees with some possible snow on Thursday and some flurries as we head into the weekend. The high will be 4 degrees tomorrow and Thursday, with the low being Friday night at -1. The Bulkley Valley has some sun on Tuesday, 2 days of snow and rain, then snowy conditions heading into the weekend. Now on to your Northwest roadside report, where we now seem to be exiting construction season. On Highway 16, there are fog patches from Terrace to Whitsett, slippery sections from Quick to Fraser Lake, construction in Burns Lake, construction west of Fraser Lake, and utility work in Vanderhoof. Highway 37 has fog patches from Kitimat to Cranberry Junction and slippery sections for the entire length. On Highway 37A and Highway 118, they have slippery sections. And on the Nisga'a Highway, there's construction west of New Ayanch. And now let's take a look at the roadside cameras from around the Northwest. Still to come, the Canada Life Centre fills up as they honor an Indigenous man who was a grassroots politician. And welcome back. Well, 1 week ago, longtime politician Murray St. Clair passed away, and over the weekend, a large turnout occurred in his honor over in Winnipeg. And Jeremy Chiron from CTV News has the rest.
A special honor for a special Canadian, a champion for human rights, a judge, and a senator. Murray St. Clair remembered as a man of many firsts.
He was the first Indigenous person of almost every single room, in a time in which Indigenous peoples were not welcome in courtrooms, in boardrooms, classrooms.
Remember me. Thousands filled the Canada Life Centre in Winnipeg to remember the man his family says was filled with love, kindness, and compassion.
Musham always looked for the good in people, and in them, he saw what our country could grow to be.
Murray changed this country for the better.
He worked to shed light on dark parts of Canada's past, recognized by the Prime Minister for his work in leading the Truth and Reconciliation Commission.
Murray gave us the blueprint, the foundation, the tools to pursue reconciliation, and now it is up to all of us, governments, Indigenous peoples, and non-Indigenous people, to keep doing the work.
From Selkirk, Manitoba, St. Clair was the province's first Indigenous judge and just the second in Canada, later serving as a senator as well.
A heart brave enough to expose injustices, yet generous enough to make everyone around him feel welcome and important.
So we can reconcile it. St. Clair's many accolades recognized by fellow Indigenous leaders, but his lifelong dedication to paving a better path for the future is his lasting legacy.
Justice St. Clair gave us hope, and he still does as we stand here today in his shadow.
His powerful words, shared by his son, not soon to be forgotten.
Change will happen if the citizens of this country believe and make it happen. So, believe. Then get up. Do something about it. Don't just sit there. Get up.
Jeremy Chiron, CTV News, Ottawa.
And now we turn our attention to the stock market, where we have a mix of everything today. The Canadian dollar is down 0.5 cents. The price of gold is down 75. Oil is down 2.18. Natural gas is up 27 cents. Aluminum is down $52.50. In Toronto, the TSX is up about 30 points. The Venture Index is down about 8. In New York, the Dow Jones is up 304. NASDAQ is up about 12. Still ahead, many Canadian legions around the country are forced to change their business model. Well, welcome back to our last segment. After 50 years without a promotion working for Revenue Canada, a man is one of many citing systemic racism towards the Black community in Canada. Kamal Karamali once again has more on what is to come from this class action lawsuit.
Stacks of papers showing Michael Turner's decades of work at Revenue Canada.
51 and a half years.
Wow. Seems like a long time.
It is a long time.
Retiring this year, and through that time, he says he received one promotion.
My last promotion, in essence, was 1974.
Did you ever train employees that ended up surpassing you?
Definitely. I trained supervisors.
Now a government-funded report released internally this week and shared with CTV News highlights systemic racism at the highest levels of the federal public service, patterns of anti-Black discrimination marked by differential treatment, abuse, cruelty, refusal, and subjugation.
Lack of representation have left many of us with scars.
Gerard Etienne, a former top executive, says he was let go after claims he didn't thoroughly investigate someone's complaint.
Never gave me a chance. It did not matter the evidence I provided to show how thoroughly the issue was investigated.
The report comes just as roughly 30,000 black public servants are pushing to sue the federal government, alleging discrimination. A hearing at a federal court set to wrap up next week will decide whether they can go ahead with the historic class action lawsuit.
It has been filed against 99 departments across the federal public service,
seeking $2.5 billion in compensation.
To address loss of pension, loss of salary, pain and suffering.
Ottawa has admitted to racism within the federal public service, but says there are protocols for workplace complaints, meaning employees must use the established process instead of taking separate legal action. The court will now decide whether the class action lawsuit can move forward, with black federal workers not only fighting for compensation, but mental health support and a robust diversity plan.
And many legions around the country are running into financial problems, with a number of them losing a portion of their applications. And much like the Canadian Armed Forces, the legions are also struggling at acquiring younger adults. Here's Allison Bamford in Saskatoon.
Tables set and the hall cleaned. Ahead of Remembrance Day, the Legion's busiest day of the year.
It's important that we get people involved, and once we get them involved, to get them engaged.
Saskatoon's Nutana Legion hosts special events weekly, dances, bingos, ladies' nights to engage the public. They've managed to recruit 85 new members this year.
There's obviously some that are going to be struggling, especially in some of the smaller centers where they don't have the membership base.
Like rural Saskatchewan, where the Grenfell branch is selling its building in order to stay in operation and focus on supporting veterans.
The building it's kind of an anchor around your neck if it's not making you money.
Ottawa's Montgomery Legion building also on the market. Dwindling membership has the organization strapped for cash. And in Belleville, Ontario, the local branch, once 15,000 members strong, now has just 300 and runs the risk of shuttering after it used the last of its savings to get its current building up to code.
I believe in what we're doing. I believe in the purpose of the Legion. It will really hurt if we close our doors, but I'm not going to give up on this place.
Despite localized challenges, national membership is growing year over year for the past few years, and some legions are upgrading. In Surrey and Sault Ste. Marie, they now offer housing for veterans. But even those in good financial shape see challenges the longer they operate.
We've got a water heater downstairs that's going to need replacing very soon, probably a furnace pretty soon.
There's hope among some branches that changes to operations can lead to long-term viability. But the business model is largely based on membership, and although it's up in certain legions, recruiting younger members is still a challenge.
That'll be all for tonight's cast. Thank you very much for tuning in, and good night.